Hey everyone, Chris from VarsityGaming, and welcome to the 14th episode of Siege School. Today's episode is going to be the first in a series of videos called Map Knowledge, and today we're going to be talking about Chalet, one of my favorite maps in Rainbow Six Siege. The point of the series is going to be going through the map itself, talking about different ways to move around it, as well as callouts and locations. It'll also go a bit in depth into the history of the map, as well as the objectives and why you should choose specific objectives over other ones. Now keep in mind this is the first episode in the series, so this one will probably be a little bit rough. Any feedback is welcome, and please let me know what you guys might want to know that I didn't touch on, or anything that I did touch on that you guys really don't want to know. So this one will be kind of a crapshoot to see what works and what doesn't. I do want to try to stick to the same format as the rest of the Siege School videos, but it all depends on what I can talk about in the video itself. I'll take all the feedback from this episode and I'll make the future episodes reflect what you guys want to see. And if a lot of changes are made to the format of the map knowledge videos, then I'll redo Chalet to fit that format. But with that all covered, let's get into the first topic of the video, and that will be the history of the map. Now unfortunately for Chalet, there really isn't much to talk about. A lot of other maps have a huge in-depth history and real-world comparisons to talk about, but unfortunately Chalet is not one of them. There really isn't many real-world connections for Chalet beyond the fact that it's located in what I believe is called Courchevel, France. This location is famously known as being the largest linked ski area in the entire world, according to Wikipedia at least. But as far as my research could go, there really was no historic event there that would link Chalet to any type of counterterrorism organization. So unfortunately that's it for the history section on Chalet. So in future videos I'll definitely go more in depth if there's more to talk about, but for Chalet there really isn't much to talk about. Now we're going to move on to the general structure of the map. I want to get into this first before we talk about which objectives are best for which game mode. And as I give the general layout for each floor, I'm also going to add in as text on top of the screen the callouts for each specific room. I was going to make this its own section and talk about it in length, but really I don't have the time to do that because it would take a lot of time. So instead I'm just going to overlay it and give you about 5 seconds for each room. If you really want to know what each callout is, then just make sure to pause the video and read it out. Chalet has 3 floors: basement, first floor, and second floor. The basement floor consists of 6 core sections: Blue Hall, Snowmobile Garage, Connector, Wine Cellar, Wine Hall, and Large Garage. And the first floor has 7 core sections: Game Room, Bar, Fireplace Hall, which is sometimes referred to as the main entrance, which can be a bit confusing, Dining Room, Kitchen, Trophy Room, and Main Entrance. Usually the best way to differentiate between Fireplace Hall and the main door, if someone's calling them both main door, is to say either west or east. The west main door is the actual main door, while the east main door would be Fireplace Hall. And I do just want to add one more thing. There are 3 extra rooms on the first floor that don't really count as core sections, but they are worth mentioning. First, there's the bar hallway. Second, there's the connector between fireplace and dining room. And third, there's the kitchen hallway connecting trophy room, kitchen, main entrance, and dining hall. Anyways, moving on to the second floor. The second floor is broken into 5 core sections: the library, fireplace hall, the hallway, office, and master bedroom. Some people might consider bathroom to be its own room, but I think it just falls under the master bedroom category, since the only built-in way out of the bathroom is through the master bedroom. The names of any of these rooms might also differ slightly, but these are the most common usages as far as I've heard. I also mainly call them based on what you see in the compass down below, which is the best way I think to give callouts. The compass always shows the official name of whatever room you're currently in, so I find it's the best way to get used to the names by going through the rooms and looking at the compass. But for some maps, there are some callouts that are very commonly used which have absolutely no relation to the original name of the room. But anyways, we'll move on to the rest of the map. So Chalet has 3 staircases. Each of these staircases reaches from top floor to bottom floor and has different names based on what floor you're on and what floor you're headed to. There's south staircase, which is broken into 2 sections. One of them is called main stairs when you're going from first to second floor or vice versa, and it's called garage stairs when going from first to the basement floor or vice versa. And then there's the west staircase, which is referred to as the library stairs when going from first to second floor, and then the blue stairs when going from first to the basement floor. And then the last staircase is the north staircase, which is referred to as the bedroom stairs when going from first to second floor, and then the wine cellar stairs when going from first to the basement floor. It can also be called kitchen stairs, but I find that's much less common. The 3 staircases are the main reason why I find Chalet to be such an amazing map to play on. They allow for such high mobility, which is very uncommon for a lot of maps, as there's usually big choke points. Chalet doesn't have that. Each of the staircases can reach each floor of the map and have a lot of movement room between them. They allow defenders and attackers to easily move around the map and push different sides if needed. It's not like maps like Canal, where you only have one hallway to go through 2 different sections of the map. Instead, you can go through any part of the map multiple different ways. But because of this high mobility, it also means it can be a bit hard to defend. Attackers have many different ways to reach the objective, including the multiple staircases. Every objective on this map has 2 staircases leading to it, bar a few exceptions. The exceptions being the 4 objective sites being shown on the screen now. Besides that, every single other objective has at least 2 staircases close to the objective. And because of this, Chalet definitely promotes roaming as a defender. It's fairly easy to roam when you have 50 different ways to get back to objective in case if you get caught or if you need to get back there on a moment's notice. And it's also very easy to catch someone off guard when they can't cover all 50 different angles looking at them. So this ultimately boils down to defenders and attackers both having a huge amount of options on how to move around the map and the objective. Alright, now we've covered the generic overview of the map. And next I'm going to talk about the best objectives to defend. This is good to know as both an attacker and defender. As an attacker, you want to know which sites they're most likely going to go to, that way you can choose operators accordingly. As a defender, you want to know which site is the easiest to hold, that way you can give your team an advantage. Alright, now let's get into the objectives. Okay, so objectives. Keep in mind this is going to be personal opinion as not everyone agrees with what I'm saying. But I'm going to go through each of the game modes and talk about why specific objectives are better to defend than other ones. And then after that I'll talk about which spawns are best for attackers because of how they can correlate with each defense. Alright, first game mode is bomb. I personally believe that the best room to defend for bomb on Chalet is the trophy room / kitchen site. The reason for this is because it is incredibly easy to hold if you open the wall between kitchen and trophy room. There's only one window that lets you get into the trophy room site, and that can be seen all the way from the kitchen dining room table. So you open up the wall and have people camping on dining room. You can cover the one window that they can jump in through, it can also cover the hatch that goes into the kitchen, and then the one hallway connecting all these rooms. Once you have all that held down by the people in dining room, the rest of the team only really has to hold fireplace hall. As long as you can prevent people from pushing dining room, you can pretty much hold all of trophy room and kitchen. Not to mention, it is also a trapper's paradise when you can put all of your traps at one window and almost guarantee grabbing someone as they jump in. Meanwhile, the rest of the bomb objectives have very easy access points from the outside. The attackers can easily just walk on in without much trouble, or have outside facing walls. Trophy room and kitchen do not have this. The only thing that really makes it vulnerable is that the attackers can peek in through the kitchen window. And if the defenders are negligent, then they can easily get picked off by, say, a Blackbeard holding the angles. But for most part, all the defenders really have to do is just hold down the dining room and make sure they have an eye on the window. There really isn't many options for the attackers to push through besides that one window or to try to go through the dining room hall. Alright, now we're going to move on to the next site. Number 2 would be Snowmobile Garage / Wine Cellar site. Now it's important to note that this isn't the second best objective simply because it's amazing, but more so because the other 2 are just downright awful. Snowmobile Garage fell off favor a lot once Hibana was introduced because it was very easy for the attackers to breach into this site. Having an outside facing wall can put your team at a huge disadvantage if the attackers are able to breach it. However, now that Hibana has lost the ability to counter bandit tricking, Snowmobile Garage could be a really high pick simply because a good bandit could easily help you win the game. If they can't breach that wall, they have very few options on how to push. And their only 3 options to really push are the south and west side staircase as well as the wine cellar hall. And if you prevent the garage push, the rest of the site is incredibly easy to hold simply because you can open up the wall between Snowmobile Garage and wine cellar and have angles to peek almost every entrance. And the third best site would be the master bedroom / office. This site in general is pretty awful to defend simply because all of the windows facing the objective are very easy to push for the attackers. There aren't many places for the defenders to hide since these two rooms are on the outside edge of the map. So the attackers can pretty much completely surround this objective and force the defenders off-site in order to plant. Unfortunately for the defenders, their only real option is to destroy the wall between master bedroom and office and then try to hold it from the office side. But for attackers, that's not too hard to take when there's a ladder going straight up to the window right to office. However, it is still better than the last site, and that would mean number 4 is the bar/gaming room. This is the one where people might argue against me because a lot of people I've been playing with have been saying that the bar gaming room is better than master bedroom/office. However, I really disagree. It is way too easy to take the gaming room site because all you really have to do is just take the library upstairs because a lot of people like to defend from the hatch up there, and once you have that room taken, you can easily plant in gaming room and watch from far. Bar is really not important to take because that room is in the middle of the map and it will be a lot harder to take, but gaming room is facing outside and has a lot of different entrances to the site. And it's also very hard to hold the gaming room from bar. The rooms are very small and you can't get many angles. At least not without exposing yourself very much. And that is it for the bomb game mode. Now we're going to move on to secure area, which is my personal favorite. So the best site to defend for secure area is dining room. You'd play this a little differently than bomb, where instead of opening up the wall between kitchen and trophy room, you'd actually close it off. This means the attackers can take trophy room if they want, but then they only have one way to push out of that room, which is that tiny little hallway, which any of the defenders on dining room can easily peek through. They can also push through kitchen, but again, a defender holding the dining room table can easily watch that. And then if you have roamers, it is very easy to hold fireplace hall, as that balcony can easily give you the advantage as a defender. And the second best site to hold is snowmobile garage. The reason for this is because as long as you have a good bandit trigger, all you really have to do is hold off the garage wall. Once that option is eliminated, really the attackers can only push through wine cellar or the staircases, just like in bomb. If you have someone watching the blue hallway, that's easy to hold. Wine cellar can be a bit of a struggle to hold, but if you have enough people there, they can definitely put up a fight. And the main staircase to site is pretty much a death sentence for anyone who tries to push in through there. You can do the same strategy as bomb, where you open up the wall between snowmobile garage and wine cellar and have that wall pretty much impacted just so you can see all the different angles to the snowmobile garage. However, this can give the attackers the advantage if they successfully push through the blue hallway. Once you break that door, you can see into wine cellar if the wall is open. Alright, and site number 3 is bar. For a while, I personally believed that library was better than bar, but after playing secure area on Chalet a few times, I definitely have to agree that bar is better. The reason for this is because the room is super small and kind of easy to hold as long as you have a lot of people roaming. It's in the middle of the map, so for the attackers to actually get onto site, they have to go through a lot of open areas in order to get there. And if the defending team is competent at roaming, they should easily be able to cut off the attackers before they get there. And then the worst site to hold for secure area is library. The reason for this is because of all the windows facing to site. And not to mention that the helipad and the tower on the west side of the map make it very easy for the attackers to see into the objective site. So once those windows are open, pretty much anyone on site has to hide in a corner where they can't be seen and not peek at all, or will get easily picked off by the snipers. I think library used to be a much better pick when it was possible to hold the ladder angle without being picked off. But ever since people found out a counter to that, it is pretty much impossible to hold. So the attackers can easily just walk up the ladder and start pushing the windows right away without any of the defenders being able to contest them. Alright, now we're going to move on to last game mode, which is hostage. For hostage, the best site to defend is kitchen. I'm sure you guys can see a trend here that kitchen seems to be the best site no matter what. The reason why kitchen is the best is because for hostage, the attackers physically have to pick up the hostage and escort him out. And since kitchen is kind of in the middle of a bunch of rooms, it's not that easy to just pick up the hostage and immediately jump out a window. You'll have to move a bit before you get there. And not to mention, you can pretty much do the same thing as secure area, where you board off the walls between kitchen and trophy room, and then hold it the same way you would hold secure area. Alright, and the second best site for hostage is wine cellar. Wine cellar is a really good site, mainly because it has no outward facing walls or windows to the objective, so you can't get picked off and you can't really get breached right away into the site. However, the one downside to it is that in order to defend all of the hallways going to the objective, your team has to spread out pretty thinly. At least for bomb and secure area, if they breach the wall to snowmobile garage, all you really have to do is prevent them from pushing that breach. But for hostage, there's absolutely no objective in snowmobile garage, so they can easily push there, as a lot of people will be hesitant to hold that room since wine cellar is the important one. Alright, and now we're going to move on to the third best site, which I believe is library. Now, I did say a lot of bad things about library for secure area, but for hostage, it's not the absolute worst. And that would mainly be because the hostage is located in the center of the room, so the attackers have to run in, grab the hostage, and then run out. There's no easy quick hop in, hop out. Meanwhile, the worst site for hostage is master bedroom, because the hostage is located in such a spot where an attacker can easily just walk in, grab the hostage, and immediately leave within half a second. So library, there's a little more chance to hold off for a bit longer, whereas master bedroom, they really can just walk in and take the hostage before you can even react. Alright, now I'm going to quickly cover the spawns for the attackers. If you believe that the defenders are going to hold the trophy room kitchen side of the map, then you should probably spawn on campfire or cliffside. These two spawns are the closest to the objective and will hopefully give you guys an early pick if you can push quickly enough. Meanwhile, lakeside and front yard are on the opposite side of the map and can eat up a big chunk of time if you try to spawn over there. If you believe that they're going to defend snowmobile garage or wine cellar, then I think lakeside and cliffside are the best two spawns. At least that's assuming that if you want to push the snowmobile garage wall. If you want to push through wine cellar, then campfire or cliffside would be your best bet, mainly because of that staircase outside that you can easily walk to. And then if they're going to hold library, gaming room, or bar, then your best spawns are front yard and lakeside. And then lastly, if you think you're going to defend master bedroom or office, then campfire or front yard are your best bets. They'll get you to the master bedroom balcony or the bathroom balcony, the quickest and easiest. Alright, now that's pretty much it for the objectives. Alright, now this last section is probably going to be all over the place. I'm going to try to give you guys a bunch of information based on different callouts and different locations you can go to hold angles on both attacking and defending. Now the first one I'm going to mention for you guys is the one that I talked about earlier for the library. If you're defending library, there is a certain angle you can hold on one of the west side facing windows where you can watch the ladder. And as soon as an attacker would climb up the ladder, you could immediately shoot them and kill them. However, for the attackers, there's a very easy counter to it. If you're an attacker, you can choose to spawn front yard. You can move a bit north side of the map towards the rocks and the trees. In between some of the rock clusters, there's a certain angle you can hold on the library ladder. If one of the defenders is holding the ladder, you can easily see them through this little angle and just headshot them easily. And it's a lot harder for the defenders to see you than it is for the attackers to see them. And the next spot is another one for attackers, which is much more commonly used when someone's trying to hold the trophy room and kitchen objectives. If you spawn cliffside, you can jump on top of the rocks, and you can basically see in through the kitchen window. This angle will let you see all the way back into the back of trophy room, and if someone's negligent, you can easily headshot them there. However, keep in mind it is also easier for the defenders to see you as you're standing on top of a rock with a white background. And the next is an angle that either a defender or an attacker can hold, and that is the drone hole to the trophy room. The drone hole can see all the way into the back of the trophy room, so it's very easy to pick off a defender if they're standing there and you can see their feet. However, a defender can also peek back towards the attacker, because if they can see you, you can see them. And because of this, a lot of people like to hold a little spot next to the door and the rest of the room, where their feet can't be seen and they also can't be seen from the window. And because of this spot, there's another thing attackers can do to prevent that. And if attacker spawns front yard and has frag grenades, you can destroy the window for a trophy room that's facing west side. From there, you can cook a grenade and just throw it right in, and if the defender is holding that one spot, they'll probably get hit by the grenade and die. Now, as far as attacker-oriented spots go, that's pretty much it. Now we're going to move on to angles that you can hold inside the map itself. This can go for both attackers and defenders, depending on what you're doing. On the basement of Blue Hall, there's two shelves that you can break. If you break these shelves, you can jump on top of the sink. Either an attacker or defender can hide here and just wait for an enemy to pass by. The spot is pretty well known, so a lot of people will usually check there, but it never hurts to try. For dining room, there is a very specific angle you can hold, which is pretty much just a pixel peek onto the west side main entrance. If you're by the dining table, you can either prone or stand up, it really doesn't matter, but you can hold a specific angle on the door and you can see if someone's peeking on the north side of the main entrance room. In the trophy room, you can actually hide inside of the plant pot that's in the northwest corner of the room. All you have to do is vault on top of the desk and then lay down on top of the plant. The character can be a bit glitchy and hide inside the desk somewhat, so it can be kind of hard for attackers or defenders to see you. This is more of a defender spot though. On the second floor of Fireplace Hall, there is an angle that you can hold where you can basically see all the way to master bedroom. If you're expecting someone to be over there, you can hold this angle for a while, and then as soon as they run out into the hallway, you can easily pick them off. And the last spot that I can think of that is just for the defenders is next to the west side staircase on the second floor. If you break that window in the hallway to library, you can see outside to the main garage. So this is also something to keep in mind if you're an attacker, to always check that window. But it's a very good angle and has definitely gotten me more than once. And there is actually two more things I want to let you guys know about. The first one really doesn't have anything to do with shooting, but more about movement and roaming. If you're on the second floor looking into the fireplace hall and you want to drop down, you can drop over the balcony, but you'll take damage. However, if you jump towards the cabinet onto the little wooden table next to it, you won't take any fall damage. Keep in mind you will make two falling noises though. One as you hit the desk, one as you drop from the desk to the floor. However, you do save your health, so overall I think it's worth it. And the next spot's more for attackers when the defenders are on the bottom floor. When you go into the fireplace hall, either on the first floor or on the second floor, you can break a certain part of the floor and see directly into the garage. This spot helps a lot with people who are bandit tricking on garage and can usually lead to a pick or two if the defending team is not prepared for it. Alright, and that is pretty much all of the knowledge that I can compress into this video. There is definitely a lot more stuff that I could probably talk about, but for now that's going to be it. Something to try to keep in mind, guys, that's very important is that map knowledge is very much a learned thing. And the best way to learn it is through experience. You can't just expect someone to tell you every single little bit of information about a map because it's very hard to compress that sort of information. The best way to learn it is just by playing it. The more you play the maps, the more you'll learn. But hopefully this guide is at least somewhat of an aid. And I did want to make these videos not too long, but it definitely seems like they're going to be at least over 20 minutes guaranteed every single time. And we're now going to move on to the game show segment. I do have a few questions lined up for you guys to answer, and I'll give you guys results based on the quiz. This will be in the exact same format as the rest of the Siege School episodes, where I give you 10 seconds on the clock and you can come up with an answer. So with that all covered, let's get into the questions. Question 1. This is a two-part question. First part is, how many hatches are there on Chalet? And the second part is, how many hatches are there on each floor? With 10 seconds on the clock, go. Time's up. The answer is there are 10 hatches, 5 on the second floor and 5 on the first floor. And here are the locations for all the hatches. There are 2 inside of library, 2 in the second floor hallway, and 1 in master bedroom. And for the first floor, there's 1 in the fireplace hall, 1 inside of the bar, 1 inside of the dining room, 1 inside of the trophy room, and 1 inside the main entrance. Chalet is one of the maps with the most hatches. This allows for a lot of roaming and movement because with all these hatches, you can definitely move around between different floors very quickly. Question 2. This will be another two-part question, 1 point for each part. How many default cameras are there? And the second part is, how many cameras are located outside and how many are located inside? With 10 seconds on the clock, go. Time's up. And the answer is 6 cameras, 4 inside of the building and 2 outside. The 2 cameras located outside are the front yard camera and the backyard camera. As for the 4 cameras inside, there's one located on the second floor in the hallway right outside of the bedroom. Another one is located on the roof of the fireplace hall. The 5th one is located on the very top of the library staircase. And the last one is located inside of the snowmobile garage. Alright, and that'll conclude the quiz section of this video. I know this was shorter than usual, but I wanted to only put in 2 questions today because I wasn't sure what information to include in the quiz section and which information to include in the information segment. Based on whatever feedback you guys give me, I'll make sure to make changes so we have more questions in the next episode. But for now, here are the results based on how many questions you got right. And since there were 2 points for each question, there's a total of 4 points possible to be earned. Let me know how well you did in the comments down below. And before I go, 2 quick plugs. 1, I stream on Twitch every single day starting at noon Eastern Standard Time. And also the Twitch channel has been renamed. It used to be called VG Rockwall, it is now called VarsityGaming TV. There I stream Siege every single day, and I might start streaming other games halfway through the stream. And usually I go from about 12 until 4. And plug number 2, the Siege School shirt is available on our store alongside a couple other designs. If you want to check them out, just follow the link in the description down below or on the end card. Buying this merch is a really good way to support the channel as well as to give you something in return. But anyways, that's it for my plugs and that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching everyone, and I hope you guys learned something new. And like I said before, please give me any feedback possible. I really want this series to be something good, so please let me know what worked and what didn't, and I'll make sure to make those changes in the future. Anyways, again, thank you very much for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.